Greetings, 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 everyone. It's your friend, Dr. Alexis, coming in from Dallas, Texas. As I'm coming on, do me a favor, like, share, tag the broadcast, let somebody know that I'm on. Once again, it's your friend, Dr. Alexis, coming in from Dallas, Texas. I'm going to give you guys a few to come in. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the broadcast, you guys. It's your friend, Dr. Alexis, coming in from Dallas, Texas. You do not want to miss this broadcast. It is going to be exciting. So I'm so happy to have you here. Welcome to the broadcast. Welcome, 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 everyone, to the broadcast. I'm going to make sure everyone knows that I'm live here on YouTube. Welcome you guys to the broadcast. Hello, hello, hello. Let me know where you're coming in from. Let me know where you're coming in from. Welcome everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you? Welcome from the Netherlands. God bless you. Welcome. Come on into the room. Let us know where you're coming in from. It's your friend, Dr. Alexis, coming in from Dallas, Texas. This is a conversation that you definitely do not want to miss. Welcome. Welcome. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. Welcome, everybody. Let us know where you're coming in from. This is the Genius Lunch and Learn, which we are talking about closing the equity gap, funding Black faith-based organizations. Welcome to the broadcast. So if that's you, if you are a Black faith-based organization, or if you have someone who may be, I want you to tag them to this so that we can, so that they can be a part of this conversation. It's going to be an amazing one. I'm going to take a few minutes to greet people who are coming in. So let us know where you're coming in from. I see the Netherlands. I see Jacksonville, Florida. I see Georgia. I see Detroit. God bless you. I see, okay. Come on in. Welcome to the broadcast. It's your friend, Dr. Alexis, coming in from Dallas, Texas. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the broadcast. Do me a favor, you guys. Share this with your church, or share this with someone who may be doing the work, the nonprofit work, and they are faith-based or a Christian organization. God bless you, Mississippi, Tampa, South Africa in the house. Share this if this is you. Pensacola, Florida, Winter Haven. Definitely want to pull you into this conversation. I am all about access and equity when it comes to funding. So if you have been looking for funding and how to kind of gain access to that, then this is the conversation for you. Come on into the room. Little Elm, Texas, God bless you. Tupelo, Mississippi, God bless you. Winter Haven, God bless you. Welcome, Texas, Houston, God bless you. So tag your pastor or tag someone who has a nonprofit organization who will be interested in this conversation. It's one that you do not want to miss. Without any further ado, we are going to bring our guest in today in this Lunch and Learn. God bless you, Houston. We're going to bring together our guests in this Lunch and Learn, Genius Lunch and Learn. And I am going to bring them to the stage now. All right, welcome you guys, Dr. Shetay and Dr. Roundtree. Welcome to this conversation. I'm so excited that you guys came to talk with me on this impromptu conversation where we're doing this on Juneteenth. So happy Juneteenth, everybody. If you guys don't mind, would you introduce yourself to the audience? Starting first with Dr. Shetay.
Hello. First of all, thank you, Dr. Alexis, for having us on for this special conversation. I am Dr. Shetay Ashford-Hanserd. I am a department chair as well as an associate professor in the Department of Organization, Workforce, and Leadership Studies, also known as the OWLS Department at Texas State University. I'm also the founder of a grant-funded program by the National Science Foundation called Access with a Y, and it stands for the Association of Collaborative Communities in Equipping Youth for STEM Success. And so really excited for being here today.
Thank you so much. Dr. Roundtree.
I'm Dr. Aimee Roundtree. I am a professor in the Technical Communication program at Texas State University in San Marcos, Texas. I'm also an assistant vice president for research there. And I am a fearless advocate of amazing African American women entrepreneurs and inventors and innovators and researchers like Dr. Shetay Ashford-Hanserd, who will soon be a full professor at Texas State University, and also like Dr. Alexis. So I'm really grateful to be here.
Thank you for being an advocate, and thank you guys for again joining us for this conversation. Listen, I kind of toggle between two worlds: academia, entrepreneurship, as well as the church world, or faith-based organization. And what I found is that we need funding. So I started hosting get funding symposiums, genius master classes, really to help help faith-based entities gain access to these monies, because what I found is that we don't know about them or don't know how to get them. You guys have been able to gain access to funding. What kind of funding do you guys write for? Starting first with Dr. Shetay.
Great question. Primarily, I've been in the federal funding space. And so it started for me as a doctoral student at the University of South Florida. And I was a project manager for my very first National Science Foundation grant. And that was back in, 2013 is when I got started. And started writing my first federal grant as I was graduating with my Ph.D. And then that was in 2016. And I was funded in 2017. So primarily the National Science Foundation. I've also been funded by USDA, or the United States Department of Agriculture, as well.
Wow. Dr. Roundtree?
Right. So I have had pass-through funding from NSF and some from federal funders, but because I'm a technical communicator, sometimes it's hard to convince people to fund research on communication because they figure everyone can do it. But there's always a way. God always makes a way.
Yeah.
Well, most of my funding is with nonprofit foundations, with federal, corporate, and nonprofit foundations. I've also received funding from national organizations like the ACLS, or the American Council on Learned Scholars, and some others. But I've worked quite often with researchers such as Dr. Shetay. I've been on big teams at the Texas Medical Center, helping multi-year, multi-million-dollar researchers write grants for NIH, ARC, and also for NSF.
Right, the National Science Foundation. And NIH is what?
The National Institutes of Health.
Okay, National Institute of Health. I think that a lot of times, what do you think the barrier is with, as far like faith-based entities or nonprofits getting access to this money?
I would say also, just adding to this mix, I painted a picture of just federal funding. Also, I've also worked to build capacity of a nonprofit organization that's connected to this funding, and as well as working with an alliance, or now a consortium of nonprofit churches and nonprofit 501c3s. The biggest issue that I have found is really a need to build capacity. And what do I mean by that? In terms of ensuring that you have the right structure, corporate structure, also that you have a tax exemption, 501c3 designation, or other types of designations. And then also that you're registered with the right entities where you can receive federal funding as well. And then also that you have a track record of being able to, and that's what, with this Access Network, initially, we started out on the nonprofit side of this, external to Texas State, with a $3,524 subaward. And we had to do the cost reimbursement grant with that. And so that was in 2020. 2017 to 2020. And now we're not, a large nonprofit, but we've been making steady progress in terms of building capacity, going after larger grants at the community level through the basically through the city of San Marcos here locally for me, but there's also economic development funds and other resources available. And so building capacity, and it takes time. And it also takes being willing to partner with other organizations as well.
Yeah, I was going to ask Dr. Roundtree about that, just that partnership piece, I think that a lot of times we're afraid to step out and meet someone. But when you are talking about this funding, you need to have partners. You can't just get it by yourself, right?
No. And I will say that most federal funders in the review process, when they're merit reviewing for any institution, universities, I know that there are some health systems that apply for this funding regularly. Like I was a part of MD Anderson, and they are just a juggernaut of billions of dollars of federal funding coming in and out for cancer research. But it's of great importance to NSF, to NIH, to these federal funders that no matter how established the institution, like the university or whatever, that they have what's called a broader impact. And we're supposed to be, on these, when we sit on these merit review, both Dr. Shetay and myself, we've sat on these merit review panels for federal agencies. And when we do, it's very important to have sort of scientific merit, right? So any research that we do has to sort of advance the field and advance inquiry in that field. But it also has to have a broader impact, because really, long and the short of it is the federal funding is just taxpayer dollars. And NIH and all these other federal institutions are all beholden to really show that they've made an impact in the communities where they've, absorbed and purposed these federal funds. So broader impact is a really good place where any nonprofit, any church is included, any community organization can make a difference in making or breaking, like making a federal application successful. Because broader impact is about, okay, so you're doing this science, or you're proposing this program that's going to revolutionize things. Well, you actually have to hold yourself accountable as an applicant to show that it is indeed making an impact in the world. What better way to do that than to partner with nonprofits, to partner with church groups, organizations, to partner with faith-based organizations, to partner with community organizations, and not just to do it piecemeal or sort of circumspectly, but really have a relationship, like build a relationship with these entities, so that there's always an overflow. There's always a throughput of whatever good insight we find as researchers, that it's actually making a difference and a benefit to the communities we serve.
Yeah, and I think that we have to be open-minded to that, as far as like crossing over and making, not necessarily crossing over into anything dark, but crossing over into like doing partnerships with universities, doing partnerships with other foundations or other, other nonprofits. So even the work that you're doing, Dr. Shetay, can you explain that a little bit? Access again, so that the people know, because this is not just for someone in Texas. This is beyond that, correct?
That is correct. Currently, I have been working on building capacity of access. So again, it's an association of collaborative communities equipping youth for STEM success. And so this initiative was started in 2017. And the whole goal initially was what NSF would call a design and development launch pilot. And it's really innovative what NSF is doing. There's this Includes program, which was recently renamed to the Eddie Bernice Johnson Includes program. And Include stands for Inclusion Across the Nation of Communities of Learners of Underrepresented Discoverers in Engineering and Science. And so since 2017, basically what has come out of the work is really a curriculum model or guiding principles for organizations to incorporate in their existing programs. When we talk about how can we engage more Black and brown youth in STEM, as well as in computing, STEAM overall, because we like to intersperse throughout our curriculum the arts and entrepreneurship as well. And also we do some agriculture work as well, so more of a holistic approach. But we would like to be able to provide these guiding principles for organizations to understand, based on the research that we've done. So we do the work for you so that you can just focus on doing what you love to do. In terms of facilitating your programs, we provide a pre and post assessment, because when we look at grant funding and building that capacity, it's important to gather data. And so we work with organizations, churches, faith-based nonprofits to be able to utilize our tools and resources, and we provide funding as well. We're able to work together collaboratively and begin to pursue different federal grants. And also we're providing capacity building training for how can you go after some of the local level grants as well.
So it makes sense for a smaller organization to come alongside a larger organization to be able to gain access to this funding, Dr. Roundtree?
I agree. I think if you don't have, so as Dr. Shetay mentioned, as a nonprofit, there are a few steps you have to take before you can even entertain a relationship with the federal agency. It's all sort of obvious stuff, like you have to show your legal status. As she mentioned, you actually have to be a 501(c)(3). You have to have the official paperwork. You probably need to have like your purpose and mission and stuff on file. You need a DUNS number, a Data Universal Numbering System number. You need a SAM registration. That's a system for award management, SAM registration. You probably need to consider having what's called a facilities and administration equation for your organization. And so essentially what that means is, as an organization, the federal agency would want to know how much it actually costs for y'all to run, right? Like to keep your lights on and things like that. And so the federal agency doesn't want to, they understand that it's a burden, to do research, to support and to maintain federal funding. It actually costs. Like it is, as Dr. Shetay mentioned, it's costly, right? Like you have to have the infrastructure to do it. So you have to have all these things sort of in line. It'd be good for you to have your own, as I mentioned, F&A, facilities and administration number. It's like a percentage that estimates how much of what you do, how much it costs to keep your lights on when you're doing it, right? But if you don't, you can use a sort of fallback rate that the federal agency requires or requires you to complete. And that's all of these regulations are in something called the United States. Well, it's a document written by the United States Office of Management and Budget. That's a group called OMB. And they have something called, it's like CFR. I don't want to get into all the.
I know, it's like the people are like, well, what?
Yeah.
Somebody said, what is ARC? What's ARC?
ARC. So it's not ARC, it's AHRQ. That's ARC. And the Agency for Health Care Research and Quality. Yeah.
Okay.
It does sound like Noah's Ark, but it is AHRQ, ARC. Yes. So the point I'm making is, yes, all of these are important for a nonprofit to do if you want to sort of stand on your own and apply for federal funding. But the easiest way to sort of dip your foot in the pool, sort of to dip your pinky toes in the pool, is to work with an institution that already has relationships like this, like as an emerging research institution, which that's our designation at Texas State University. And, they're striving a great deal to become a R1, like a top level, highest quality, highest output research university in the United States. We already have to do this. Like we already have all of this infrastructure in place. Yeah. And as you partner with agencies like Texas State or other agencies that already have this in place. Like we are members of all these sort of federal organizations also that advocate for groups who partner with the federal agencies and the federal government on this work. As you partner with someone like us, and we're always looking to partner, we have an applied research focus at Texas State, and there are others. I'm not saying you have to partner with us. You can come talk to Dr. Shetay. She will let you know how, and me if you want. But as you do, we already have in place pre-award and post-award and compliance infrastructure. We already have a whole team of people who do several teams of people who do this, and also who walk our partners through, who make sure that our partners have their ducks in a row as well. That's why I think it's really important. Like, sure, you can manage it. You can try to manage it on your own, but it's hard. Like I've also worked with other nonprofits. I'm on the board of other nonprofits too, and they aren't as sophisticated and they aren't as capable as Access. And so when they get money, when they get federal funding or federal pass-through, they actually kind of jeopardize themselves because they don't have the infrastructure that Dr. Shetay mentioned in place. It's just really important to make sure that before you venture into it, you either, you partner up with someone like Dr. Shetay's work and Access, even if you partner up with an institution like a university or a health system or others who receive federal funding, that you are transparent about the help the assistance you might need to sort of partner with them. And they'll be really willing. And like I said, because there's such an important focus on broader impact for federal funding, they'll be really interested in partnering with you.
Yeah, I actually was a woman reached out to me today who I guess she saw the work that we're about to do at the Capitol at the end of the month, the 28th and the 29th, which we'll talk about a little bit in a minute. But she reached out to me. Her name is Day Edwards, and she has something called Church Space. Mm-hmm. And she told me, she said, I love what you guys are doing. She said, we got access to, over 1.5 million in seed money once we added tech. And so she said that, so we added the faith-based component to technology, and the money started coming where, the Googles, the Amazons, these are not even grants. This is, different type of, for venture capitalists, that type of money started coming to them. And I had a thought. I was like, just add tech, because the reality is that technology is everywhere around us. So you have the artificial intelligence, whether you think it's the end of times or whatever, just know this, it's not going anywhere. So either you get your church up to speed with technology, or you get your faith-based organization up to speed, or it will, you will be left behind. It'll be like Nokia, which I don't know if Nokia has created itself, but it'll be like a Nokia to your iPhone. So we definitely need to step up and level up when it comes to technology, and add that to whatever we're doing across the board. The work that we're doing with the Genius Center is really entrepreneurship, technology, adding that piece to young people, and so that we're able to connect with the STEAM funding or any other kind of technological funding, because there's so much of it out there that it makes the pot bigger where it's not so small. You see what I'm saying? So that we can all apply. And so you guys do a lot of work surrounding technology, correct, Dr. Shetay?
That is correct. So in addition to building this network and building capacity of other organizations through the Access Network on the nonprofit side, we're facilitating summer camps, also after school programs within the community. And that's really important to keep our pulse on what's going on and how do we implement these programs as well. And so we have our research team at Texas State who is helping me with developing new innovative curriculum through this recently funded grant through NSF Includes. And what this grant is it's a collaborative change consortia. And so it's one of two consortiums that were funded by the National Science Foundation in the first round of this new type of program within NSF Includes. And so basically, as a part of our new initiative, our focus prior to this grant has been on STEM and more science, and then in particular building capacity through curriculum development, those types of things. But now we're going to be integrating more of our technology. So the camps that we'll be launching and partnering with Dr. Alexis, we're really excited as well, because the Genius Center is a perfect test bed for us to begin working with faith-based organizations who do have capacity to do this work. So we're really excited about that. But incorporating AI. And so this summer, I have a team of, actually have through the research side, Dr. Roundtree serves as co-lead. She's very humble, but as
Listen, you guys, I just want to say this real quick. All these ladies are very humble, but they know what they're talking about and they know where they're going, and they can help us. Let me just code switch real quick to 99 and 2000 right now to tell you guys they know what they're talking about and they can help us. Okay, they're trying to be humble with it, but let's go.
yeah, so AI, and looking at the latest technology so that we can continue to incorporate that. Because as you said, we don't want our nonprofits and faith-based organizations to be left behind, but we also want to continue to cultivate these skills. I say cultivate because the next generation, they're already tinkering with things, but we want to help cultivate them to enter into the workforce and know how to apply these skills in a way that they can also have access to the money, the salaries that they can command with these skills as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can I say something there too? So I've done a little work on artificial intelligence as it sort of infiltrates children's devices, children's tools. So I worked on this report that ultimately became a set of recommendations for the World Economic Forum on what should we look for in AI as it's sort of being exposed to, and as our children are coming up in this world with new technology. Not that, I mean, every generation has its new technology. The telephone was met with skepticism, and TV was met with skepticism, right? And so their framework is it's got to be fair and inclusive and responsible and safe and transparent. But and that's the first model. But the only way that it can do that is if we are involved, right? There's so many moments in the history of research and the history of technology where Black and brown communities were left out, where faith-based communities were left out. Like if we're not there in the space, if we're not in the arena, really asking, forcing, compelling people to make ethical decisions as they're designing this technology, then we are doing a disservice, right? Like that is our responsibility. In this, I would even say for the most skeptical of skeptics, that it's really important for our communities to be a part of this work and to be sort of like owning this work and holding this work accountable. It's really important.
Right. And I often say like, Lord, when I graduated, I worked at the university for a little, thank you, Dr. Shetay, for giving me the opportunity, taught. But then I started to teach outside in, my own platform, teaching Genius master classes, just giving people access to where the funding was, how to get it, foundation money, all that. And, just connecting with other partners around the world who are doing this work, other faith-based organizations who are doing it in mental health or whatever. A woman named Dr. Renee Charles, she actually opened the door for me and created my nonprofit for me in 2016. She said, look, the work you're doing, you need this vehicle. And so she knew all the bylaws. She understood that world, right? And now I'm trying to help other people come up to speed because I know that there's money out there, but we just don't know how to get it. So having these conversations is important. And also just kind of coming back to the university to see how I can partner, how, I graduated from there. I'm an alum. I understand that there's a gap, right? And if you guys can connect with the greater population of the faith-based church in Texas or Florida or even across the country or even across the world, it would just behoove you to do so. And I love to kind of be that bridge and go between. What do you guys think of the future would be of the Black church or the Black faith-based organizations, Black and brown, buy-in for if we did these type of partnerships with you guys?
Well,
That's a loaded question, but
it is a loaded question. Um, a big part of this initiative and really what was the impetus for it is looking at going back to my dissertation research when I interviewed 5 Black women about their experiences in computing. And these were women who had attained their PhDs, so the highest level of education. So looking at their persistence in STEM and computing. And when I asked them for their perspectives about how can we increase equity, right? We're talking about equity and closing that gap. And so equity, when we talk about educational equity, we're looking at access, participation, and then outcomes. So access in terms of how can we bring STEM and computing closer to underserved communities, within communities, as well as how can we increase their participation. And NSF, the National Science Foundation, has this term, broadening participation of historically underrepresented minorities, or those who have been historically marginalized. So really the impetus of this work is that if we want to increase access and if we want to broaden participation, then the church, the faith-based institution, is strategically positioned within a community, within communities, to help us increase that. So that's what this initiative is about. And this is why it's so unique, because to date, we're the only initiative that's funded by the National Science Foundation that has this intentional focus. All of these initiatives work within communities, but we have called it out in terms of connecting the research to how can we utilize faith-based institutions to change the system. So we talk about systems change. And so that's what we are exploring. We don't have all of the answers right now. This is just, we're in year 1. This is a 5-year grant. But really, we're going to utilize the research and look at it statistically in terms of when we bring on board all these different sites and we look at the impact that's being done, we'll be able to share practically as well as through our research how these institutions are moving the needle and increasing access. And so I believe that it can be transformative. Truly transformative in terms of the impact that can be made. And then when we connect that to as well, so we're supplementing, and in some cases, we're actually augmenting, because some of these youth, depending on the community, may not have access to math, science, computer science courses. And so depending on the community, and there's a lot that can be said about that, but I believe the church is positioned strategically. And personally, I'm speaking for myself, these words are not on behalf of Texas State University, but I believe personally it's a kingdom mandate.
Come on. Can you speak to the kingdom mandate? I don't know. I mean, hey, because we are finding ourselves, as dual citizens, really. We are kingdom citizens who are representing organizations. We're working at our positions wherever people are working. A lot of people who are on today are PhDs, they're deans, they're connected to universities, they're doing this type of work, but they're also kingdom citizens. So that means, what does that mean to you, Dr. Shetay? What is a kingdom citizen doing this type of work?
Well, as we've already mentioned, the systems of this world are changing. The tools that we need to have access to, technology is evolving. And so if we don't get on board, then we're going to get left behind. When I say we, in general, but then also within the church. And so this whole notion of connecting science with faith, is really something that is controversial, right? In terms of, and there's a whole lot we can say around that. But I believe that in terms of if we want to be able to utilize these tools, and be able to go into the world and teaching others how to utilize these tools. I believe that we should see it as a responsibility. There's a big, of course, we know there's social justice, but I believe it's biblical justice. When we look at how can we, as kingdom people, if that's your belief system, how can you utilize the knowledge that you have and access to resources to help bridge that gap? How can we sit in a community and see gentrification taking place and see people not having access to these resources and not do something about it?
That's right.
That's right.
So that's where the biblical justice piece comes in. I believe that we have, if we have access to these resources, that it's not just for me alone, it's for me to be a conduit to help provide access for others.
So I too am speaking on behalf of myself now and not Texas State University, disclaimer. But I do want to say here, I mean, a part of the work that you do, Dr. Shetay, that I love is this idea that God is here and God's everywhere. God's in science too. I know that there's been this sort of like this antagonism, but look, all science is observing his reality, observing his nature, observing his order. That's all it is. That's all science is. It's not the solution. It's not like how we define ourselves. All it is observing his truth, observing his order in the world that he created. That's my opinion of science. That's why it's important, right? Like, and I think too that there's been a lot of and using, like, leveraging the church in a way where young children, as they come to these camps, they are exposed to a curriculum that sort of synchronizes their identity as children of God and their ability to sort of admire and observe his glory, observe his creation with wonder and splendor, right? Like, to me, that's so powerful, because then you were enabling these young men and these young women so that they don't have to have a splintered idea of themselves as children of God, themselves as followers of Christ, and then themselves as scientists or themselves as researchers. You and I are researchers. We have not lost our faith. It has only strengthened and grown our faith, right? The Bible says we're supposed to love him with all of our heart, all of our mind. That's a part of being a researcher, is loving him with our mind and giving children access to love him with our mind. We don't have to, it doesn't mean that it doesn't disprove him. Not obviously not. All it does is help us see all of his wonder, all of his amazing wonder, and how he's ordered this world.
Thank you, Lord. That's on behalf of me. Amen. Thank you. And so, amen. Listen, but I love to be, I've now come to, just kind of work alongside you guys and see the work you're doing. But also, we're going to invite people to the table who are believers, who are a part of the kingdom, on the 28th and 29th of June at the Capitol, at the Texas Capitol. Can you speak to that, Dr. Shetay?
Sure. Yes, we are going to be at the Texas State Capitol in the Legislative Conference Center. And so we're going to basically, as a part of this Access Summit, we have an annual summit. This is our 5th annual summit, and we're so excited to be at the Capitol and to be sponsored this year by the Honorable Senator Judith Zaffirini. And so we want to host this at the Capitol because we're bringing program leaders in from the National Science Foundation. And so I mentioned this NSF Bernice Johnson includes program. And many of us know that Bernice Johnson, she was a congresswoman in Houston. And so we're excited to have NSF come to Texas and be a part of this summit and sharing firsthand information about how you can gain access to funding and also the importance of the work that we're doing. We want to spotlight as well other faith-based organizations and nonprofits such as the Genius Center, as well, Dr. Alexis and the work she's doing. And then we'll have others a part of this. And really, how can we have more organizations such as yourself be a part of this work, how we can undergird the work that you're doing within your community and provide resources and funding for you to do so. So June 28th, 29th at the Capitol in the Conference Center, Legislative Conference Center. We're going to start at 12 o'clock noon with the luncheon. And then that evening we'll have a reception over at the Hilton Garden Inn at the Texas State Capitol. And then we'll resume back on Saturday morning at 10 o'clock a.m. 9:30 a.m. At the conference center again and end at 1 o'clock. So we're excited about what we will experience on that weekend.
Yeah, so let me so basically, you guys, you're about to have a seat at the table. All right, this is what this is. This is the opportunity. If you are a nonprofit or faith-based organization, maybe your pastor is interested in this type of work. How can we get funding? How can we move our programs forward? And NSF doesn't just fund youth programs; they also fund adult programs. Can you imagine a reentry program that has technology connected to it? There's just different. It's so vast. The work Dr. Shetay is doing is geared towards youth science, technology, engineering, entrepreneurship, arts, and math with the Bernice Johnson Includes program.
Yes.
Right. So this is the work she's doing dealing with youth, but really going to reach out to partners in Texas and Florida, to different churches to host these camps in the summer to see how we really can undergird you, as well as provide opportunities to be a part of other funding in the future. And I think that these are the collaborations, these are the connections, these are the MOUs, memorandums of understanding that you have been looking for. And so I recommend that if you are in Texas and if you have an opportunity, we would love to see you at this event to be a part of it. It's free. I will put the link on my page, and I will also put the link underneath this broadcast, but you basically will have a seat at the table, and hear from the National Science Foundation, maybe be able to shake hands with someone, because that shaking hands and networking can expand your net worth. And so I think that these are the type of opportunities that you want to be a part of. There is no registration fee. We're just wanting you to come, dress appropriately, and come be in the room. Yes. So thank you guys for joining me today. I really appreciate it. I'm going to continue to raise awareness about how we can gain access to funding. And I'm sure that people want to hear more of this. How can they kind of connect with you guys? Or do you have a website access, or, just if they would like to continue a conversation?
Yes, so to continue to connect with us, the best way to connect through this initiative is access, acceYSS.org. And so that would be the best way to stay abreast of the work that we're doing. When Dr. Alexis posts the link, we also are connected to Texas State University, as we've mentioned, but Access is a joint collaborative, and as well as we are on social media. We're on Facebook, so you can just look for @Access, ACCEYSS, on most all of your social media platforms.
Can they be a part of Access beyond Texas?
They can. And we are coming to a state and a city near you. And so we are starting small here with our focus on Florida and Texas, but we are expanding. This is a national consortium. Mm-hmm. And so definitely we're looking for each of these organizations through our partnership with Dr. Alexis and in K-Nation Group, we're looking at how can we continue to expand access across the nation.
Yes, I hadn't really talked about it yet, but I wanted to, but I will. No, it's fine. I will. Just wanted to kind of get things, but I want to pull definitely Illinois, try to get some, Illinois sites in the days to come. But right now we're working with Florida and Texas. So, but if you are in another state, you are you're able to be a part of this consortium because it is expanding. And I'm telling you, you want to be a part. So please reach out to where she said. And yeah, that is the broadcast, you guys. Thank you so much, Dr. Aimee and Dr. Shetay, for being a part of this conversation. People are saying thank you. The presentation was invaluable, was very valuable. Thank you for the work that you're doing in the kingdom and the communities. They said, thank you. This is going to help me with my home economics program. That's right. Science is another means to prove the existence of God. This is kingdom. And so thank you guys for coming for the lunch and learn. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye now. So you guys, that is that. Thank you guys for joining me today. I will post the replay and continue to talk about this opportunity that we have. And I'm looking forward to sharing it with you guys, all of my friends. It's your friend, Dr. Alexis, coming in from Dallas, Texas. Enjoy your Juneteenth.